Wing fans who always... Hey! Hello and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Superconnectivity. We've been having some connectivity issues today, but they have been resolved by the power of magic and computers. Woo! I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. With me, as always, is the man who is wise in many things, like David Bruce Banner.
Phil Perich.
That's the man. Yes, that is a line. That is my favorite line from The Incredible Hulk Returns, and that is what Thor says to Bruce Banner or David Banner. He says, Donald Blake tells me you are wise in many things. But if you find a way to sever the thread that connects us, I will drag you to hell with one L. So you can say it on TV. Okay, kids, welcome once again to Superconnectivity. So, what's the news, Phil? I mean, I guess the big story, although I don't know, it's like, okay, so officially Disney and Fox, the shareholders, and said, yes, sell that nonsense. Get us some Disney money, said the Fox people. And the Disney people said, yeah, get us that FF. We need us some Franklin Richards.
So, yeah.
Show that Thanos who's boss.
It's official. The X-Men and Fantastic Four and Deadpool are coming home.
Yes, they are. They're coming to Marvel, yes. I mean, home is where the heart is. But the people who actually care about making good stories will have them.
Yes.
And that's good news. I mean, and I said, like last week, that the irony is that apparently now Optimum or, Cablevision. Is it Cablevision? Yeah, I believe that's who owns Optimum. NBC Universal, Cablevision, that whole conglomerate is now making a bid for Sky, which was the whole reason Fox was selling all this stuff, was so they could buy Sky. Mm-hmm. And now they actually have to go into a bidding war against the people that they lost the bidding war with and honestly, I'm sure they're doing it just to be a jerk to Fox. Oh, you didn't want our money? Guess what? We're going to take what you wanted to buy. So, and I think Fox is going to lose.
Well, now they're going to come.
I'm predicting it right now. Fox is going to lose.
Yeah, but now they're going to be packing that Disney money, though.
Yeah, but their deal originally anticipated Disney money, and the people that were actually going to outbid Disney are now going to buy the thing that they wanted. So, essentially, NBC Universal was ready to buy Disney outright, or it was ready to buy Fox out at a better deal than Disney.
Mm-hmm.
But Fox decided to stick with Disney because of various reasons, and I don't think Universal was happy about that. And it'll be interesting to see if that causes problems for the Hulk moving forward. Because of course, I believe the current rights to the Hulk are owned by Universal. Surprisingly, I was actually surprised to realize this because I was going through it and I realized in the old McGee-averse, Universal owned the Hulk, they owned Captain America, they owned Doctor Strange. They did not own Spider-Man. Spider-Man was still, even then, a separate entity. That was a difficult crossover.
Yep.
But it is interesting to me that they somehow managed to hang on to the Hulk, even though they lost Captain America and all the rest. So, but I guess that's why they made that Hulk film before then, and then that's how they got to keep it. I guess I don't know. Anyway, and of course they had kept on doing the Incredible Hulk Returns, the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and the Death of the Incredible Hulk. So the Incredible Hulk had been an active going concern for them for a while, but they had not done anything with Cap or Doctor Strange in years. And they were kicking themselves after the fact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, and they actually almost had a Doctor Strange film. They were actually co-producing it with Full Moon, and then they pulled it at the end. And then Full Moon just went and did it and called it Dr. Mordred instead. It's a fun film. You can tell the minute you watch it, it's a Doctor Strange film. It's Doctor Strange the movie. But it's not called Doctor Strange. But it's a fun film, Dr. Mordred from Full Moon. Not as much TNA as you expect from a Full Moon film, but still pretty good.
But I mean, you kind of knew the deal was going through.
Yes.
So,
Philip, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, the deal It's a done. I mean,
Yeah,
kind of knew it was a done deal.
exactly, and we're hopeful. Yeah, we didn't know it was we knew it was supposed to be a done deal. They've gotten what do you call it? The thing they've gotten antitrust approval, right? That has already occurred.
Oh yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe the government's approved it. Yeah, everything's. I believe everything's in place.
Yes. Okay, so then there we go. So Fantastic Four, Galactus, the Skrulls. Well, the Skrulls we have apparently. The Skrulls, they say we already had the Skrulls, and now I wonder if that means we're going to get Quicksilver back.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Because we all recall that was like a deal that seemed to be the deal behind the scenes, was that Fox was going to get Quicksilver and Marvel was going to get Scarlet Witch, you know, and they both put them in their movies, but then they said, okay, now we're just not going to use this character anymore. That's why no one remembers Pietro's sister. He was in one movie, and then they forgot about it. Wasn't his twin, but you know, life continues. So that's the good news there. Speaking of magic, have you been watching? Well, I know you've been watching, but did you see the last 2 episodes of Cloak and Dagger?
Yes, I'm up to date.
Yes, excellent. So, man, there's so much to talk about because, of course, the episode before this one, one from last Thursday, which we didn't get to watch because, as it turned out, someone wanted to do a podcast at that time, so we did that podcast instead. And
Hellfire,
Hellfire, my arch nemesis. But they did a great fridging. And yes, the end of it is the fridging of our police officer's boyfriend, and it is really they completely framed the scene to look like the original fridging scene. So it's quite a joy there. Well, not a joy. It's very sad and tragic, and that sets the stage for the downward spiral that we get into in this episode. Because, of course, over the last few episodes, we've had our characters, Cloak and Dagger, kind of building themselves up, building out a story for themselves, and actually achieving what they arguably set out to do. You know, Tandy, I think it was actually even the episode before that, proved her father was not responsible for the actions, and actually even got the guy to confess. But when she found out that the father that she remembered wasn't the father he was, that he was in fact a horrible wife beater like Hank Pym, she lost her faith in what she was doing. Similarly, in the episode before this, we get the admission of his guilt from our evil cop, and at the opening of this one, and of course we get the admission from the evil cop, and then it ends with the fridging, basically saying this guy is crossing the power structure. And this cop apparently feels he is some kind of Luke Cage stuff going on. He's bulletproof. And although I gotta say, I got a like from the writers of Cloak and Dagger last night. Where I made the point that this cop had better end this season in a little room with Dormammu, or this is the worst written series ever. And I do think that is the case, and the fact that they liked that tells me that we might be onto something, that is his ultimate fate, that he is going to get pulled into the dark dimension and forced to live all of his time as a mindless one or some nonsense like that, which works for me.
That'd be awesome if they did that MCU link where it was Dormammu.
Yes. Well, they did do, and this is the thing, in our televised series is there is more crossover. And we actually got that reference last week when our female cop O'Reilly basically said, speaking about Cloak and his ability to disappear, her basically does her jaded New Yorker. I've seen more than that. I should tell you about my friend Misty sometime. And that was our big, Netflix crossover there, which, still makes me hopeful that we might see something, But more to the point, I think I think our bigger crossover, there was a seed planted in this last episode that I think we're going to see at the end of it. Here's my big prediction. Big prediction, mark my words. Our voodoo priestess at the start of this is saying that Roxanne is trying to pull the magic out of New Orleans. So that thing that's underneath it's been there for centuries. They're trying to extract it out.
Mm-hmm.
When it all fails, which it will, I predict that because this woman had her hope stolen from her and has made her jaded and evil, her last scene is going to say, New Orleans isn't the only place that we can look for this. And she's going to lay out a map of Florida.
Ah.
Going after you, man thing. And, we haven't gotten a reference yet to Whitney Frost and the original Zero Matter yet.
Mm-mm.
But I think it may be there somewhere. There may be a hidden Easter egg in one of the files we see that are scattered around the desk that they haven't highlighted, but that, better eyes than mine can see later on. Or we may actually get it called out. But I think what we're looking at is when we first got introduced to Zero Matter in Peggy Carter, it was the result of a nuclear test.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that great release of energy. And what we're looking at with the rigs and going deep into the earth to find this and extract this substance, we're looking at what is essentially a slow motion nuclear bomb. That it's just that centuries of heat and pressure underneath the planet, perhaps upon Dragon Bones, right back to Netflix, has created this energy release that is that tied to that dark dimension and Zero Matter. That's my prediction, and I think that's again, like I said, I think that they're going to look at Florida next, and that I don't think they'll follow up with it, but I think that'll be just a nice little Easter egg for us at the end. That they're coming for the man thing, We'll just see Okefenokee Swamp, because he's in the Okefenokee Swamp, isn't he? The man thing, I think he is.
Maybe.
I do believe it's a named swamp, and I do think it's Okefenokee.
Yeah, I know it's a swamp. I can't remember the name, but yeah.
Now, that's also the swamp that Wally Gator is from. But he's a DC character, so Actually, I don't know. Is Wally Gator DC? That was, you know what? I don't know if he is, because I don't think Woody Woodpecker was a Hanna-Barbera character. That was a Walter Lantz. It's like Beanie and Cecil, how he's that's a Bob Clampett Studios thing. I don't think they were actually Warner Hanna-Barbera, so I don't think Warner actually owns them. So Wally Gator may be public, maybe out there for someone else to use. So we can get that Wally Gator Man Thing crossover. Come on, Dynamite Comics, I'm asking you for this. IDW, come on.
Oh no, it says Hanna-Barbera owns Wally Gator.
Okay, so then because you're right, because he was in the Laugh Olympics, but I know he was an antagonist of Woody Woodpecker, so it's possible that Woody Woodpecker remains under Walter Lantz, because I've never seen Woody Woodpecker brought over to Warner's production, but I have seen Wally Gator, and it's probably like and there was a similar character like that from there's the little dog with the Baron, because there's two dogs, and one is owned by Warner's and one is not, or one is owned by Hanna-Barbera, one is not owned by Hanna-Barbera. The one from Wacky Races is owned by Hanna-Barbera. The one from Catch That Pigeon is not owned by Hanna-Barbera. So there is a very distinct, they're almost exact same characters, and they are the sidekicks of a Baron type character. I want to say it was, I forget his name, Snively or anyway. But yeah, but they aren't actually owned. So there are these crossover characters. So all exciting. We'll see where it all leads. one thing I want to talk about. Have you seen the Aquaman trailer?
Yes.
Have you seen the Shazam trailer?
Yes.
I'm not certain they fixed the problems yet.
No, I know. I'm any of these DC stuff. Even if the trailers look good, I'm still like, I'm still like, oh yeah, I'm 100% on board.
The thing with DC is they always look good. Zack Snyder is a beautiful director.
Oh yeah, visually they look good. It's just the story.
And it's like this thing that kind of worries me. Like, are these films too worried about looking good? And I gotta be honest with you, I got a little worried about Shazam once I heard Shazam talk. And basically, once he opened his mouth, it was like, oh, okay, well, I hope this works.
I've heard people say maybe he's a little too goofy, and I'm just like, is this DC trying to course correct? But they're going in the, like, everyone's always like, oh, these DC, even Deadpool, these DC movies are too dark. Is that them going way on the other side?
You know what? They're turning away from the skid, but you have to turn into the skid to regain control.
But it's like, instead of doing like a half step, I mean, they're all the way on the other side of the room. They're like,
but the thing is that once you've gone, like I said, when you go into a skid, this is Safe Driver 101. If you grew up in a place where there was snow or water, first thing you learn is when you go into a skid, you turn into the skid.
Yes.
So that you can regain control. Because if you try to turn away from the skid, you're just going to hydroplane. Because you're already hydroplaning, that's what causes the skid. And if you turn away from the skid, you're not going to. If you turn into the skid, you can then regain control. That's the theory. And I think that DC is not turning into the skid. I think they're trying to turn away from the skid. As much as Lilith wants to say she wants to watch Aquaman with the sound off, I think that's a bad thing. I don't think you should want to watch a film with the sound off,
Yeah.
And I still want to know what's going on with the Green Lanterns. Why was Steppenwolf not a big enough threat to that sector to send a Green Lantern? I mean, I think just one would have showed up. It's like, hi, that Hal Jordan. We'd even do a nice little death of him in this, where the Green Lantern dies again, and his ring flies off. Looking for someone without fear, yada yada yada. Finds Matt Murdock. Man Without Fear.
Oh yeah,
okay. The Man Without Fear. Yeah, it's work with me, Phil. We're working. We're on a lot of different levels.
I was waiting for the ring to go. I was waiting for the ring to go get Jon Stewart and be like, hey, you don't have a TV show anymore.
People have been waiting, man. People have been waiting. Actually, you know what I really wanted? I wanted freaking that ring that was broken to be, in Alan Scott's hands.
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic if they actually pulled out Alan Scott in that.
Well, I know they did say, I don't know how big a part, but the Justice Society is going to play a part in that Stargirl series that's coming to DC Universe.
Yeah, but that's the TV series.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they throw out Justice Society like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. It's like, everyone likes the Justice Society, but they we're talking about this is the problem with that. Marvel has the problem that their movies and TV are separate, so that it always seems like they are two separate universes. But they do try to say these do exist in the same universe.
Mm-hmm.
These people just aren't interacting because it's a big universe.
Oh yeah.
Not for nothing. It is a big universe, and you really got to show you basically. You got to have some Peter Parker level stupidity to not show up on Tony Stark's radar. And of course, as far as why wouldn't he have gotten Luke Cage? Well, the reason he didn't get Luke Cage is because Luke Cage was an uncontrollable figure.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that Luke Cage was a former cop and a former criminal. Know that he could actually. Tony Stark went for Spider-Man because he knew he was a teenager. Because he knew he was someone he could manipulate with, with all of the things that he does. That's my theory. So that's why Luke Cage and Jessica Jones didn't get brought into Civil War or any of these other things, because that's my thing. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Tony Stark's like, impressionable teenager, hot aunt. Yeah, let's go. Let's go for that.
Well, exactly. Like, what's he gonna? Yeah, I mean, and also, and hey, not for nothing, he probably doesn't want to have to try to compete physically on that getting the girl aspect of it.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
Maybe everybody's saying, I don't know if I want to stand next to Luke Cage in that moment. I could stand next to Phil Coulson, but maybe not Luke Cage.
But no, speaking of that DC Universe thing, I've realized what my problem was with Teen Titan, that the Titans show. I was asking Lilith last week. I'm like, do you think Dick Grayson is the person that says F Batman and is killing guys? No, because that's not Dick Grayson. That's Jason Todd. That's the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're gonna deal with him, even because there's an episode 6 or 7 of that series where it's titled Jason Todd, where everyone's assuming Jason Todd's going to become Robin, so Dick Grayson can become Nightwing. But it's how are they going to do Jason Todd if Dick Grayson's being Jason Todd?
Maybe they're. Oh, you want me to give you the answer? I'll give you the answer, DC. Though you've already shot the episode. Okay, so Bruce Wayne retired at one point. Had I always want to call him Burt Ward. Had Dick Grayson become Batman for a while. Dick Grayson brings Dick Grayson fail, which is why he walks away from being Batman. And he puts on the Robin suit again himself. That's why Robin, because he really should be Nightwing at this point. Is he's not a Teen Titan anymore. He's clearly a grown-up man. He's not a 19-year-old guy. Either the police or an insurance agency. I still say he sells insurance, but that's my opinion.
Unless they're doing an Earth 2 thing where he stays Robin and he even had gray hair at the temples, all Reed Richards and he was still Robin on Earth 2.
I'm sorry, wear the shaved legs and the Speedo. But anyway, so that's my prediction. So that's how they work in the Jason Todd, and that's why he is F Batman, because he's not saying F Bruce Wayne.
No.
He's saying F me. I'm not Batman anymore. I'm back to who I was. I'm back to who I'm supposed to be. Robin.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's a theory, but but this is one of these things I was saying. I say I'm worried about Shazam because I heard him talk. I'm worried about Teen Titans because I haven't heard Starfire talk yet.
Yes, exactly.
I haven't heard Beast Boy talk yet. Why did they not give them any lines in this? That worries me. Now, granted, you can say, well, they didn't give Hawk and Dove lines either. This was, thing. Well, first off, why are Robin and Raven the center of the story? Beast Boy and Raven, maybe. That's fun. But, but it just felt like they really didn't let these characters talk. And I think the reason why is because they're not playing them with any kind of relation to who they were in either their books or their other adaptations.
Yeah.
I think that they're creating them in this way that is not going to be what people want, which I don't think is a bad thing. Not for nothing, like I've always said, you can deviate from the norm if you tell a good story. Is nothing like the Cloak and Dagger from the comic books. This is a McGee-verse level reimagining of these characters, and it is fantastic. I'm not gonna listen to anyone say, "Oh, well, it's not like the comic book." It's yes, good. It's not anything like the comic book. This is a new and interesting story, and I love it. And I think what DC's problem is that they're afraid to go full McGee. And they're afraid to actually be true to the source material, which I think leaves them in this very vague, non-committal space. And I think Beast Boy and Starfire are indicative of this. That we're not hearing them talk because they didn't want her to say, I am the Starfire, or listen to Robin, or the Robin says that. They didn't want to have her use articles oddly, you know. And I don't even know if Starfire did that much in the comics, or at what point she did in the comics. But it became indicative after the original Teen Titans cartoon. It wasn't Teen Titans Go that did that. Teen Titans Go played it up a lot for humor, but she was doing that in the original Teen Titans cartoon. So for about the last decade, the odd use of definite articles by Starfire is a thing that people are expecting. And they obviously, and I'm guessing they chose not to have her do that. And that's why they don't want her to speak right now, because everyone's going to go, oh, why is she saying these things? Except, you know what? I think if she did that, everyone's going to, other people would say, well, no, you know, actually in these books, she said it just, she actually could speak English properly, you know. Now, why Beast Boy isn't talking, I don't know. Unless he's like, oh, I'm dark and gritty Beast Boy, and I'm basically a green Wolverine. That's a whole other thing about why Beast Boy is green, but Starfire is not orange. Actually, no, Beast Boy isn't green. Oh, did they green him up finally?
He had like green hair and stuff, but I don't know if he was completely green. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Starfire and Beast Boy had lines in the trailer because I think they wanted to keep them off camera as much as possible.
Well, you know what? I can live with a non-green Beast Boy. I can live with a non-orange Starfire. You know, although it's weird to me because every time I see someone who's orange, I always assume they have fur because of Tigra.
Yeah.
It's a thing for me. But yeah, you know, so the fact that she's actually supposed to be like just orange skin. That's just it's weird to me, but okay, whatever. It doesn't bother me much. It doesn't bother me that she's now she has a more brownish hue as opposed to an orangish hue as an alien being. It doesn't really affect my life in any considerable way. But you know, that look. I mean, I can't have hair just grow out of her head that looks like that. That's all I'm saying. That clearly has product in it. Okay, I don't know any species in the universe that just has hair in these perfect arrangements. I'm just saying. I'm saying she does a lot of work on that hair. That's a lot of product that goes into that. She's a princess, though, so you'd expect that, you know.
Yes.
Princess Leia's hair didn't grow into natural like side buns. That's not how it works, though. Okay, but that's Teen Titans, the TV show, and I'm just these are the things I worry about for DC. I worry about the characters that are talking and the characters that aren't talking, because the characters that are talking aren't giving me hope, and the characters that aren't talking makes me worry that the reason they're not talking is because I would lose all hope if they talked.
Yes.
And then you have Aquaman, which looks great. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about Aquaman. Except that I think I probably would have been happier if they had changed the color palette of it. I mean, really, everyone talks about like Marvel movies looking exactly the same. I kind of feel like all DC films look exactly the same. They all have this really glorious Technicolor kind of look.
Dark.
You know? Well, no, not even dark, but it's not darkness. It's a vividness of the color palette. Like like you say, you know, glorious Technicolor was Technicolor was when they first started colorizing, making films in color. And in order to get the color film to work, you had to like have really bold colors and put really intense lights on them. And that's the only way you could get the color to show on film back in the day. And so that's why it was called glorious Technicolor, to explain why you had these ludicrous shades of things that looked like comic books that people were watching. So I feel that DC often embraces that glorious Technicolor look, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I do think that it's very much what DC's palette is. And I think DC needs to be willing to think of another way to tell a story. That's my thought. I don't know. What do you think, Phil? I yam around so much.
No, I agree. I mean, they all look the same. I just wonder if, like the Shazam movie is going to be them trying to go the complete opposite direction of everything else. You know, humorous. Is the look going to be any different? And is it just going to be a little goofy?
You know, I don't mind it being goofy. I don't mind it being humorous. I just want it to tell a good story.
Yeah.
You can be silly and tell a good story. You can be dramatic and tell a good story.
I'm just worried they're going to go.
It always comes back to, does it tell a good story?
I'm just worried they're going to go over the top and be like, see, we could do something other than dark. We could be silly. And, you know, every 5 minutes, they'd be like, look how silly we are. We could do this too.
Yeah. You know, when you have to say, look at me, there's a reason no one's looking at you.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is the crux of yonder biscuit, as we say in the business. But anyway, yeah, and that is the media landscape today. Cloak and Dagger, still firing on all cylinders.
Yep.
Enjoying Luke Cage. I think me and Maz just dropped the first 2 episodes. Oh man, I was actually real tired in that second one. So if the second one isn't that good, I apologize. Me and Maz, we are gonna do a movie club, me and him, of Sorry to Bother You, which is a fantastic sci-fi film that you don't realize is a sci-fi film until like halfway into it, but then you look back and say, "Oh, this was always a crazy dystopia."
Nice.
Oh, it's and there's things when you're watching, you're like, "Wait, what is this? What are we looking at?" And then it's like, "Oh, it's kind of like set in like the pre-Idiocracy world. Like this was the world that gave birth to Idiocracy, but then other things happen." So it's really a brilliant film. Me and Maj are going to talk about it. So tune in for that.
Stay tuned.
I don't know if that'll be in Captain Ludicrous, or maybe we'll get in the Sidekicks feed. I'm happy to be in the Sidekicks feed, man. I mean, you know, I'm actually a little sad none of my shows are in the Sidekicks. It's like, what?
Well, a lot of those are like older reviews. I mean, you do the Netflix stuff. You do the newer reviews.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm all kind of stay.
You're on the front lines of breaking news, Charlie Esser.
I try to be. So you want to talk comic books, Phil?
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of Tiger, what'd you think of Marvel 2-in-1?
Wait, Tiger?
She's fighting Moon Knight that week.
That's very interesting. So Ben and Johnny have been here for a while, and they finally get to my point, because I was like, if Ben's losing his powers, why is he still Rocky? But yeah, we see here their powers are gone.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, and basically which also shows like why he's really in no rush for anything. Grim again.
Yeah,
you know, he's flirting with his light. Hey, bad in the weird world that he's in. And of course, Peter Parker is the mad dictator of this world for reasons, you know. But as Johnny sort of says, trust me, I'm no sort of better than everyone. He is no master detective. Yep. And that's funny. You got to show some Spider-Man, especially. I like the book. It's interesting, and I love our Mad Fantastic Four, the new Reed Richards. I couldn't recognize I really actually couldn't recognize any of those characters. Did you recognize any of them?
No, not really. I mean, they changed artists too, so I didn't know if that was part of it. But yeah, they're not ringing a bell with me.
Yeah, well, I mean, they will be interesting people. We'll learn about them next month.
Unless the
2-in-1.
Unless the Thinker just created them somehow, you know, through
I mean, honestly,
through 3 victims in a cosmic ray machine or something.
Yeah, well, you know, not for nothing. It is. It's not like this is hard work to do. I mean, heck, the UFOs basically just said, "Well, we'll just shoot ourselves up in a rocket and do a cosmic ray storm." Now, I can't think of any downside with this plan," said Mr. UFO. Okay. Ulrich, I believe his last name was supposed to be. That's why they were the UFOs. Ulrich Technologies. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to the Mad Thinker's Frightful Four, or the Mad Thinker's Fantastic Four, because obviously he wants to be the new Reed Richards. So.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the fun aspect is we get a little bit of Amadeus Cho in there, and apparently the Maestro because this is actually a Maestro universe, so the Maestro actually killed everyone with an IQ above 20, as Amadeus Cho says. So that's pretty messed up. Yeah, so I enjoyed that book. What else did we have this week?
Did you say you read Spider-Man?
I read Spider-Man, yes. Because speaking of Spider-Man, yes, and the little inhibitor chip on the back of the neck.
Oh yes.
Poor Lizard, and I mean, it was cute. I mean, I'm glad that they're really kind of saying Mary Jane is Peter Parker's one true love.
Yes.
Stop with this Gwen Stacy nonsense. That was his high school sweetheart. Just, that was before he hit the jackpot, okay? But they really make the point that, Mary Jane is the person who's been with him throughout a lifetime. Yes.
Yes.
The good and ill, and she's still there because that's what a real relationship is that person who, when everything is kerfuffled, sticks with you.
And puts
I'm glad that
puts up with you no matter what. You like to wear red and blue tights? Hey, that's fine.
You know what? Who among us? That's all I say.
Yeah.
And and we get our nice little Man Marco scene there. Always happy to see Marco get some work. Man Marco's in the start. Yes, because it's Man Marco and Ringer.
Yep.
Then Taskmaster. So it's got Man Marco and Taskmaster, two of my favorite villains.
No.
Although I was a little weirded by that, did someone mess up Taskmaster's face?
What
was that supposed to be a reference to? As far as I know, no one's messed up his face.
Not that I know of, unless that's just Spider-Man saying. Because didn't he say, "Is that a mask or is that your face?" But I don't know. I didn't know if that was just supposed to be him saying, "Hey, ugly."
Yeah, whatever it is. Well, actually, what really surprised me is that apparently Black Ant's actually a Black Ant now, and not a LMD Black Ant. Because those who remember, Black Ant was for a while there before the end of the universe. I believe that was before the end of the universe. Was a LMD because they went to the Shangri-La of AIs with Doombots and Ultrons and all these AIs that wanted to be free. And let's see. Oh, and of course, I also read Sentry 2.
Yes.
I love this book on so many levels. This was probably my favorite Marvel book this week.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I was not impressed by the whole Infinity Prime thing. Yes, it had Loki. Yes, it had Loki saying, "Why are the stories not right?" Yada yada yada. Loki's always saying that he never likes the stories because he doesn't like how he's written.
Plus,
take it up with the editor, Loki. Take it up with the editor.
Plus, what about that big death we got? Spoiler alerts: Thanos
is dead again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How many times has the guy been dead?
Yeah, exactly. Although he was happy, he's like, "Oh, I get to see Death again! Yay! Hey, Chickie!" And she's like, "Oh, Thanos, yeah."
So,
although that actually raises a question, because isn't he the cavalry at the end of in the last episode of Thor? So that kind of threw me for a loop there.
Well, I guess it's going to take place before this. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, but yeah.
Oh, wait. Weren't they? They were in hell though, right? HEL.
Oh, this is true. HE single hockey stick. That is true.
Maybe he gets killed here and shows up. Maybe that's why he shows up there.
Maybe that makes perfect, brilliant sense. Phil. Thank you. This is why you're the king of continuity. And speaking of continuity, so Sentry. You know why I love Sentry?
Why?
Who is our villain in the Sentry this week?
Is it what's his name?
Cranio.
Yes, Cranio. Yeah.
The man with the 3-dimensional mind. He's got 3 little brains in there.
Yeah.
He's 3 times as smart as you. Which, I guess is smart. And we get a lot with this is just a very good thing. Got this. And basically what she's saying what he's saying is that in the pocket dimension, it is all fake. It's all imagined. It's all a dream.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder if this is somehow a part of the nightmare realm, which would explain why the monster's coming in there. Which would make you immediately ask, Doctor Strange, why did you think putting the pocket dimension for the Sentry in the nightmare realm was a good idea? But maybe there's a secondary dream realm. I don't know. But I gotta imagine it's connected to the nightmare realm. And we get the Sentry back, but there's something wrong. It's the Sentry, but no Bob. That's gonna be weird. And
so do you think they're going to use this as an excuse to like bring the Sentry back without the Void? Where they're not, or at least not connected?
Well, I mean, unless you actually read into the last panel, Phil.
Oh, I know.
Is there no void? Is there no void, Philip? Or is the void within us all? And I like the fact that Cranio actually has a human, like, doppelganger. That there was a guy who was Cranio. That's just weird to me.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. That was probably, there probably was a real Cranio as one of Sentry's old villains, right?
What even is the Sentry? I mean, it's such a. I mean, not for nothing, the Sentress was Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
In the comic books, it was Carol Danvers was the Sentra. It was the Sentress. So,
well, I'm sure Carol Danvers told Tony Stark and Doctor Strange, "Don't you dare put a copy of me in that pocket universe."
Although I just noticed that. Did you see the art hanging on Scout's wall?
Oh yes, I did see that when I read that. Yes.
Yeah, I just noticed that the tentacles. Like
a fall. Is that a falling figure there?
I mean, that is another interesting thing. That there's like a little. Yeah, that does look like. It looks like the luminescent one falling, and the tendrils ready to lap him up. So, I had a thought that because I had thought last week that the person coming in through Clock was going to be Scout. And he became the Void, but that he sent Cranio in is equally interesting. Oh man, there's all sorts of symbolism in his apartment. So clearly, the Void has taken over Scout, or the Scout was always had the Void in him. And I think that may be how they work through this: is that when the Sentry comes back, but the Void is not going to be the Sentry; it's going to be Scout. It's not the Void.
Yeah, but I mean,
they have been separated.
Well, what did you think about Billy too? Because when Bob goes to him and says, "I need help," and Billy's like, "Oh, well, you went to Tony Stark first." It's like, "Oh yeah, Tony Stark's like in charge of this whole thing, and he's this big time superhero. Yeah, I'm gonna go to him instead of like, no offense, a short order cook."
Well, not for another. Actually, you notice in that entire conversation, it's actually Billy who says, "Well, why don't you call Doctor Strange and Tony Stark?" And he says, "Well, I did, but Doctor Strange is off world." As we've seen, getting Infinity Stones. And Tony Stark is, and not for nothing, Tony, don't you have an AI to check your messages and say, "Oh, dude, Sentry's kind of off the bubble. Go reach out to him." Like,
exactly. There's no alarm that's going off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get. Most people's cell phones have a unique ringtone.
Well, I mean, Misty does come for Bob, so it's like, did Tony Stark get an alarm and say, "Yeah, go get Bob"?
Possibly, I guess. I don't know, but I'm disheartened by the system in place. Let's just leave it that way. Although nice to see Misty doing her. We all love Misty. I love her new arm in the TV show. And you see her feeling that superhero stuff. Yes. And I haven't watched it all the way, but I did notice that they were in an abandoned theater the last episode I saw.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm sure that's good. I have a feeling that's going to come back. Anyway, this was a really good episode. And again, speaking of, the Void and Sentry now being separated. And, of course, we had that thematic with Spider-Man as well. As Spider-Man finally gets to meet his good friend Peter Parker.
I know, and supposedly, I think that they solicit said it's not a clone, so yeah, who knows?
No, it's the Chameleon. Obviously, it's the Chameleon.
Or Mysterio.
No, Mysterio just got into trouble in a previous. Actually, in the last book, Mysterio got in trouble.
Yeah, but wasn't whatever that was. Who's like, "I'm going to drag you back to hell." Maybe it sends because like, go get Spider-Man, or I don't know.
Or that person dragging people back to heck, or hell. Okay, we'll use your fancy bad language. That is actually using old Spider-Man villains, and so the logical thing would be he'd get the Chameleon.
Oh, maybe.
That when he does that thing, he says, "What are you talking? I'm Peter Parker. I'm clearly Peter Parker."
Unless that's Mephisto himself or something.
Yeah, it could be it. I don't think it's actually Mephisto. It might be Blackthorn. Actually, big prediction. It's actually Damon Hellstrom.
Oh.
Yeah. And then let's get to my DC books this week.
All right.
Do we need DC books this week, Phil?
I did I read DC, but I did not pick up that Teen Titans book, or what was the other one you got?
Justice League Dark, which is hands down my favorite book this week.
Oh. I didn't get either one of those.
Justice League Dark, Justice League, and I'm mad there's no code, but that's DC.
There's only one, as far as I know, there was only one DC book with a code this week, and that was Brian Michael Bendis' Action Comics 1001.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that is a mistake on their part, because the fact of the matter is, yes, people will share codes, but you know what? If you share codes, that's like when we used to share books as kids, but now we're adults and we do it. And we say, hey, here's my code, read this book, you're gonna love it, and they go, dang, I love that book. I'm gonna get that on my pull list next week. It's being penny wise and pound foolish. That's my opinion. But let's talk Teen Titans, the newest Teen Titans. First, this is fun. This is gonna sound like a weird question. Why does Damian have laces on his boots?
I don't know.
I mean, doesn't that seem like just a bad idea in general? Wouldn't you rather have buckles? Velcro, maybe.
That's a weird thing with DC now, because like Barbara Gordon had like this whole cool Batgirl costume, and then when they they made her the Batgirl Burnside, they kind of went for like boots with laces, and it's before it was like you had like cool smooth boots before, then they go to laces. It's like,
well, and I understand, like, I guess the laces,
I don't know if it's like
more realistic, but it just seems not practical for the actual things you're doing.
I don't know if it's supposed to be like a symbol of like, he's not with his father right now. I don't need your money, father.
Good thing he can tie his own shoes. And no, he still needs his father's money, because he basically stole a new home base after his father bought him a nice, perfectly good home base on the West Coast. He stole a home base from his dad again.
Oh, speaking of,
is Wayne Enterprises selling?
Children?
Really? I gotta imagine. Honestly, it's just like, how much money do these people have?
Before I forget, this Wednesday coming up, Adventures of the Super Sons #1 comes out.
Oh,
but they said it takes place before this Teen Titans series, so
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by the newest Teen Titans, though. We'll see if it goes 3 books. It's not going on a poll yet. Justice League Dark just might get a poll next week or next month even. I really like this book. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. This is when we got our all introductions. Like my Roundhouse, my Ample American superhero who's blue.
I was going to ask you, did you like the kid? So you like the character then?
I like he's clearly filling the Beast Boy role. He's the fun-loving guy. He's Flash's friend, apparently. Although even Flash doesn't seem to be that good of a friend with him. And honestly, he gets really kind of put down by everyone else, even though he's clearly amazingly superpowered and very capable. But everyone's kind of being a jerk to him, which, hey, tells the story of every fat kid out there. It's like, yeah, I'm actually a big guy. I could probably beat up a lot of you people who are picking on me. Why are y'all picking on me? Lobo's daughter, what's her name? Crush, because why not? I got nothing against Lobo having a daughter. Honestly, that guys like Lobo don't have more daughters.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like the shocking thing. It's like, wait, you only have one illegitimate kid, Lobo?
No.
I mean, he's an alien and officially the last of his race, but for gosh sake, Clark Kent mated with a human.
No.
I mean, obviously, there's a genetic will to reproduce in this universe. So, I would imagine that he would have more. He's an interesting character, Jin, because she's like omnipotent but also afraid of something, which is interesting. There is an old legend of, the Jinns being the angels who did not choose a side in the war of heaven and hell, and that is why they've been cast to earth and are forced to be the slaves of those who free them. But again, Roundhouse, love this guy. He's fun. He apparently can turn into fire and ice and all kinds of crazy stuff. And again, he has these amazing powers, but no one really gives a, everyone treats him like he's the hanger around when clearly he's doing a lot of work. Also like the fact that Jin has like a bunch of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go cats because that'd be too much like his father.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Roundhouse and Crush clearly have some kind of antagonistic relationship, but I do give them this much. You see everyone walking away from the boom, and you see that Roundhouse is the guy like, oh man, that's a loud explosion in the background. Why are we all being so calm?
Yeah.
Didn't we try to take some kind of cover? Because there should be a flying shrapnel here. And not for nothing, most y'all ain't bulletproof. Like you, Red Arrow, and even you, Kid Flash, you ain't bulletproof. Why are you all being calm when stuff is exploding? And
it's interesting. Kid Flash is kind of having like a big identity crisis because even in like this week's Flash 51, like Kid Flash gets in Barry Allen's face because he was in the 25th Century last issue, and he's like, I looked through the Flash Museum. He's like, and I saw that they actually had it documented before you did the whole Flashpoint thing. I didn't exist. So he's got this whole thing now of like, yeah, your mistake created me. I'm like your mistake.
Or that's one way to look about it, but
well, that's kind of the way he played it. But he was like, so goodbye.
Drama, teenagers.
Yes.
And okay, DC once again continues its long tradition of prisons have no toilets. Really, this is Damian Wayne's solution to crime. He's not going to just straight up and murder all these guys, which why not at this point? But I'm going to chain you to a wall with no toilet forever. And we have no idea if they're being fed. I'm just going to say that we have no idea if anyone is feeding or watering these people.
Hey, if you're not giving them, why do you need a toilet if you're not giving them food and water?
Fair enough, Philip.
But no, I mean, I know it's an ongoing problem in all these DC properties, but if there's one person who wouldn't give their prisoners a toilet, I'd buy Damian, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm certain these people are very well soiled at this point, It's just a weird quality to this. And not for nothing. Okay, so it is a juvenile detention facility. Why are they all in the same cell? Maybe you shouldn't put all of your superpowered villains in the same cell. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a thought, Damian. And I get that. I'm tired of the revolving door of Arkham Asylum, which isn't actually a revolving door. It's just a place with bad security.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, a bad HR department because they hired Harley Quinzel. Dr. Quinzel.
Well, I mean, she was sane
and Doctor Strange.
Well, I mean, Harley Quinn was sane and normal until the Joker got his hands on her. So when she got the job, I mean, she was mostly.
Was she though?
Well, that's how they paint it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was saner.
Yes.
And, yeah. So she wasn't. She didn't let her freak flag fly, but that doesn't mean that she
was sane enough. She was sane enough and competent enough to at least hide her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. What I'm going to say is that she immediately violated standard professional ethics when she developed a relationship with the Joker.
Yes.
I'm just saying I'm not saying whether or not she was sane or crazy. I'm saying she was a bad psychiatrist because she didn't follow standard professional ethics and she slept with her client.
Well, that Joker, man, he's a sweet talker, man. He seduced her.
I'm sure he is. And he's cut, he's fit. We don't know which Joker it was she fell for.
That's right.
You know what? They might all be interchangeable. There is going to be like a 3 Jokers book now.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let's get to my favorite book, Dark.
Yeah, I wanted to ask why. I want to know why. Why do you love that book so much?
Well, I mean, I loved it because of it has a fascinating story. It is an interesting take on what Marvel already did with the death of magic, and sort of like it's not the death of magic, it's like magic don't want to do your bidding no more. And magic is basically sick of you people trying to tell magic what to do, which is an interesting take. What actually made me pick it up is that little guy there, my favorite character in the DC universe,
Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp.
Oh,
he's awesome.
More than Ambush Bug.
Well, Ambush Bug hasn't been around lately.
Yeah,
so.
no.
You know, for a non-Ambush Bug character, and honestly, for what it's worth, everyone in this is so much fun. You got good old Zatanna and her backwards, honestly, backwards talking. Really, I don't feel it. I mean, granted, well, that's what they do. It's like, well, that's what a lazy writer did 40 years ago. Do we have to keep doing it? You know, I'm not saying they have to have hoary hosts of Hogarth, but you know what? Draw some funny symbols to say what they're doing is something magical and different. You know.
It's like a focus for her,
Yeah, I know. Wow. I love Wonder Woman showing up there at the very start. She's awesome. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman. And I love that Wonder Woman is like the head of this, not that Batman dude. Batman sucks.
Okay, Dick Grayson.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, man. I love that they basically have all the magic users, good and evil, getting together to talk this out, you know. Mm-hmm. That basically, you know, and there's our Johnny Constantine. Except he's wearing black and not his yellow trench coat.
Oh, he is in it. I thought he wasn't part of this Justice League Dark.
No, he's not part of the Justice League. He just makes a cameo.
Oh, okay.
No. And this is what's great. Is like there's only really two magic users if you count Swamp Thing. But Swamp Thing isn't really a magic user. He's just tied to magical forces.
Yeah.
He's no more a magic user than really Diana or Detective Chimp is. Mm-hmm. It's really Man-Bat, who is probably my favorite character. One of my favorite characters in this is Man-Bat. He is so great in this. And you got Zatanna, who's fun. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, that. But okay, so here's what I love about Man-Bat. You get Man-Bat. Basically, he's basically, because it reminded me a lot of the Lizard in our most recent Spider-Man story, where he's got his brain back, but he's still like mostly bat.
Yeah.
By the way, that was annoyances in the Amazing Spider-Man thing, was that he changed back into a human form.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to be, no, I have my human mind, but I am stuck in the lizard form. You know, I wanted that to be the story. Now, oh no, I can change back to the human form. Then why are you changing back to the lizard? You know?
Yeah, I mean, unless he has to physically for some reason change every so often.
Well, I mean, when they first did it, he looked like it was very stressful to turn back to human. So I thought he was going to say, it's actually easier for me to be the lizard than the human, but I can turn back to this form. But then he doesn't say that. He basically said, and then of course his clothes fit when he turns back. There was some really sketchy writing in that Amazing Spider-Man book. I'm just going to say that up front.
Well, who knows?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it greatly, but it was a little bit sketchy.
Well, who knows? Who knows what we saw was real? Because remember, at the end, Peter Parker's face to face with Spider-Man. So who knows?
Yeah. So this could all be Mysterio. Yeah, it's going to be Mysterio. But so they have their own bar with no name in the DC universe, which does exist before the bar with no name. I'm going to give it to them. They came up with this idea. A Detective Chimp owns it, and now he's also the guardian of the Night Watch or something, because he's got like the Night Watchman sword, and like it's just a magical realm. And they were like not happy because there was a guy who died in like the last crisis, but he left the bar and the sword to Detective Chimp, and Detective Chimp was like, yeah, they weren't too happy to find out that their new protector is a talking chimp. Yeah. But this is good, and again, here we have this thing where we have the angels and the demons are like, oh, we can't deal with you. Well, we can't deal with you. But they have this great thing, and this is one of the things I loved about it is when we get to Swamp Thing's talking about this whole storyline, which is that, you know, the magic users want to keep it in the shadows and control it. The non-magic users just want to punch it into the light. And the magic has its own thing. Now, obviously, there's some bad forces behind the magic because we get Zatanna's dad coming back engulfed in flames, and apparently Constantine was responsible for him getting burnt up at a previous event. And they say that one of them will betray them, blah, 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 blah. And everyone wants to think it's going to be Man-Bat. No. If anyone's going to betray anyone, it's going to be Zatanna because she's the one that's actually tied to magic.
Yes.
She's the one. And they really want to play it up that it's going to be Man-Bat. Man-Bat will not betray. Mark my words, Man-Bat will not be the betrayer because Man-Bat is a man of science. And they're going to try to say, well, he's going to be tempted by naming what it is. They have a whole thing about how he wants to name something after him and all these things. And it's actually, again, very similar to what they did with Kurt Connors. It's like, yeah, well, once he sent over all these patents to us, we were happy to let him on faculty.
No.
You know, it is amazing the between the Man-Bat and the Lizard, the rhyming between Marvel and DC sometimes. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this, and I can't wait for the next issue. Like I said, this may get put on the pull list really very quick because I was very impressed by the first issue of Justice League Dark.
Nice.
You know, I get that way with DC books. Sometimes they really blow me away, and then after a while, I'm like, yeah, you're like I was with Superman. I was all into Superman for like a while, and I did it for a couple months, and I was like, you're not telling new stories. You're not telling interesting stories. I think Justice League Dark is going to be a set of really interesting stories. So I'm gonna follow it for at least a couple issues. So
cool.
I really liked it. Okay, but that's everything I read this week, Phil. Anything you want to talk about comic book wise?
No, I think that's good. I mean, if we think of anything else, we could squeeze it in tomorrow night during our Teen Titans Go to the Movies review.
Yay!
I know Miss Hellfire's been watching episodes of Teen Titans Go.
You know what I'm so mad about today, Phil?
What?
Did you hear what happened?
What?
MoviePass crashed.
Did it?
They ran out of money, which obviously they were going to do. You know? And it's like, oh, wait a minute, we did not think this through because we thought people would only go to movies once a month, except we told them they could go to the movies whenever they wanted. And they did a thing where they said, well, if you only go to 3 movies, we'll make it only $7.95. It's like, okay, well, probably most of us are only going to about 3 movies a month anyway, because most of us have lives. But you know, if you're still losing money at $7.95, especially on the East Coast where people are probably doing it the most, because here movie tickets are start at $6.95 for the matinee,
and I mean,
just go up from there.
And you think it's bad now? Wait until the winter comes. People will be going more and more.
Well, if it exists, I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it would have lasted.
Yeah. What I'm going to tell you right now is if I get to see Teen Titans Go on the Movie Pass, I'm canceling it afterwards. Because I'm no fool. I got my one. I'm out. I'm outie, man. You know, you made a deal. I took the deal. Yeah. I'm outie. You know, I'm not going to. I knew you were losing money on this from the start. And yeah, you know. It's typical, but there you go, man. That's But you know what? Here, what I'll tell you, because I'm saying I'm outie and it's going to end and it's not going to be worth it. That'll be what allows them to succeed. Because I am always the guy who says that'll never work. Yep. No one's going to make a money out of that deal. So so you can thank me later, MoviePass, by deriding your business model and thereby ensuring your future glory. That's my opinion. What's yours?
Let us know.
Let us know, because we have emails and phone numbers. Would you like to let people know what those are, Philip?
Yeah. I mean, you can always get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. Charlie will give you email for Superconnectivity. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Superconnectivity Podcast, at SuperConnectPod on Twitter. And the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
There you go. And of course, you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way, the way our moms and pops once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter. This is a live tweet. Cloak and Dagger, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which just started production on the new season, and many, many other shows well, not many other shows, but a few. Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Bing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us this week. Please super connect with us once again next. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, no, I don't think we can pass this casting, man.
Hey, man, you can take that money and put it towards the DC universe because you get to read some DC digital stuff if you get the DC universe.
Okay.
Well, I guess
I don't know, man. CBS says I should go give them my money for them. So, there's lots.
Yeah, but I mean, with DC Universe, you get shows and movies and comics.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, DC.